of life, there were these hidden subterranean darker paths. That there were these more he would say through the tunnels of Set, who kind of not unrelated to Satan, that he would use to be in contact with stuff. So long story short, with the numogram and the way Land uses it, what's important here from just a weirdness perspective, you've got a way to contact heaven, but more importantly, a way to contact hell. And you've got the 8th gate and the 9th gate. The 9th gate, not quite related, but not unrelated to the Roman Polanski, Johnny Depp movie, The 9th Gate, where Depp's character comes in contact with hell. So what they believe is they are literally contacting hell in some cases for divination purposes.
To see the future.
Or just to see anything, just for insight. And that brings us back.
For knowledge.
And he even has a point about the number 666, where a lot of these numbers, he calls it theosophical math. You have triangle numbers, which is, if you stack these things like they're a triangle, like the triangle number of 9 is 45. That's why it's 45 there. There are only so many triangle numbers. One of them is 666, and that is the triangle number of 36, which is an important part of the numogram. So when Land realized this, he was like, of course it's 666. So what I'm getting at, you are getting involved in heavily, wildly Luciferian stuff. And Land, on this podcast, he says, well, what about people who say you're communicating with Satan, which Land will also talk about being, in communication with Satan. He'll say Christians who say that, he goes, I am not unsympathetic towards that. He goes, they're more right than most because I am in contact with something from the outside. He goes, and,
I just can't overstate how disqualifying I find that. I feel sorry for anyone who plays around with that stuff.
Tucker's out of the interview. He's like, okay.
No, but I'm just saying, like, anyone who says, I really get a lot of inspiration from a guy who's controlled by Satan, I'm going to leave it to God to decide, what happens to that person. But that person has disqualified himself.
Totally.
In my view, as someone I will listen to. I don't want to be led by that person. Like, we should run away from that person at high speed.
You typically also don't want to put them in charge of your kids, typically. But,
Well, that's kind of it. And it's so funny. You hear people, I get written letters from people a lot every day. And half of them are like, I feel like this country or this world is controlled by Satanists. And on one level, you're like, oh, come on. But no, I think they can feel that there are spiritual roots to the destruction of the West.
Oh, totally. No.
And they're right.
No, you're fighting a spiritual battle.
You start playing with this stuff. Is it surprising that people are like ODing on fentanyl on the sidewalk in our nation's capital, or that we've imported like 1 million Haitians? Like, what is all that?
Well,